A new segment. Games I like. This is for games that I've already played, but not on the stream, which, if you've been listening to my rambling, there are quite a few games that I have played, and some of them I have liked. A lot of them, probably the majority of them, I have disliked. But that's for a different segment. This is about games that I liked. There should be a disclaimer here that I remember liking them. I may not necessarily think they're the best game ever, and I would recommend them to everybody, but they have something to them, something worthy enough to stream. And a lot of times these are games that maybe not many people have heard of. So with that, let's go to the game. Let's fill out that window just a little bit. There we go. Nice. Perfectly fit. So this is Intergalactic Fishing. It's, well, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? Of course, this doesn't give you any idea of what it actually looks like, but it is a fishing game. I've played this game for a couple, well, I've played through the entire story. It was enough. I guess it was about 7 hours. Wow. You can get through kind of the main story in about 7 hours. There's plenty to do beyond that. Let us, instead of loading up my save, let's start out with a new game. I don't really like any of these portraits. Intro and license test is a tutorial. Well, why don't we go through that and see. If it starts to become very tedious, I will go ahead and switch over to my save. Just trying to refresh my memory. It was a little bit of a time ago when I played this. A few years ago. The lake was added to the Universal Lake Teleportation Network. There's a way to teleport between lakes. And this is one of the premier fishing spots. But the population of fish has been declining, and we don't know why. Mayor decided to purchase a teleporter and recruited us, and we have to take a license test, which is basically the tutorial of the game. I believe this is a mouse game, so it's good that we're seeing the mouse. Congratulations on your new ULT boat, buoyant object for above water travel. I'm gonna save on any of these little quips and kind of get through the dialogue here. So we can move around with WASD. Pretty slow, not very maneuverable. And we can also, and they do, this game, another thing I should mention about this game, it does a very good job of tutorializing. They really do walk you through everything. So a cool thing about this is, I don't recall seeing birds in the game. I think that might be a new feature. That's pretty cool. You know what? Let's check the volume level. Right. So you can basically fast travel at any point to anywhere. Here we are. The corporate lake. There's a lot of different lakes, and there are even procedurally generated lakes. You can go ahead and talk to people. They can sometimes tell you things about what fish are in the area. That's something we will get to. Let's try to fish. And let's see if I remember how this works. So we just left click where we want to cast. There is a range. And then you just click to reel. And as you can see, it might be a little bit small. Maybe we want to crank up the UI scale just a little bit. Let's try 150. That might help a little bit. So it's sinking. If we wait forever, it will eventually sink to the bottom. The topology of the lake is actually completely modeled. In fact, I'm not sure. There we go. You can see here, this is the depth. So blue is... I can't remember. I think blue is the shallow area. And then as the colors get darker, you know, green to yellow, it gets deeper. And that red is the tension on the line as we reel it in. Now we have to actually catch a fish. So, easier said than done. Gotta wait until we get a bite. There we go. I think we got a bite. So you have to look at the tension bar to know when you got a bite. There's no vibration. I'm using a mouse, right? You have to... So we put it into our storage. You have to look for when that meter dips a little bit to indicate there might be a nibble, and then you right click to hook it, and you start reeling it in. You can do a few things with fish. Dissecting is one of them. And because we dissected it, we can also make lures. I'll show you that later. Because we dissected the fish, we start to get some data on it. So this bar here indicates how much data we've obtained. And based on that data, all these things start to fill in. There's a few annoyances. Okay, well, I will actually say this. This is probably the most annoying, problematic aspect of the game for me, and why I kind of stopped after playing it for 7 hours. I should probably mention the price. So, Intergalactic Fishing. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. It's on Steam for $14.99. I'm not sure if it goes on sale. It probably does. I expected it to be a little cheaper, but at this point a lot has been... it's gotten quite a few updates. So let's go look at the lure. You can see we have some pre-made lures here, and you can switch between them. You can also design your own lures, which you want to do, definitely, to target the fish that you're going for. And right away, so this is the information you get about fish. You don't... And this is something that... This is another aspect of the game I don't like. For all the tutorializing they do, there are very important mechanics that they do not really tell you about. You just have to go to the Steam community, the guides, you know, find a wiki or something to learn how this works. This is not like... So obviously it's not like Animal Crossing where you can actually see the shadows of fish. And it's not like a lot of fishing games where you just throw your lure and then randomly after a certain amount of time you'll get a bite. You could cast your lure and then actually just not get a bite, and you could be sitting there for hours. Maybe not hours. You'll probably get bored before then, but you could sit there for 10 minutes and not get a bite. And that's because how the game works is the actual population of fish is... Every fish is actually simulated and is actually moving around You just can't see that they're moving around. And they move around. They go to different areas. They tend to prefer certain depths, so near surface, for example. And now the immediate question is, what does near surface mean? The game's not going to tell you. You have to know, and there is an actual hard value of what that means, and you just have to look at the forum. So that's another thing I did not like about this. You can really waste a lot of time when you first start playing this game because you don't understand the fish mechanics, because they haven't told you everything you need to know. Obviously, so, you know, once you get into the vicinity of where a fish is, this stuff up here, dull, quiet, small, dark, you know, this is the lure attractiveness. So by customizing your lure, you can actually also see here eventually your lure stats, and you can know how attractive your lure is to the fish. But that's not enough. You know, if your lure is maximally attractive, you still need to know, where should I actually be casting my line? What depth should I keep it at? How fast should I be winding? And ideally, you also want to be casting during their feeding time, which another unfortunate thing with how this is shown is it just tells you whether they are active or not. It doesn't tell you. It might actually tell you the time of day that they are active at if they aren't currently. I might be not remembering that. A very quiet game. Turn it up a little bit. It has some nice relaxing music. It is that sort of game. Let's go back home. Don't know why that loading is so long, but so yes, we have modules that we can install in our boat. We can even do short-range teleports. We go to the Travel tab. Teleport right to our dock. Here we can adjust our loadout. You can have different lures. You can get different boats, different teleporters, and here's another annoyance. The different lures that you can have. You just have to... You have to like remake lures if you don't have enough like to cover the different types of fish. Usually what you do is you make a lure that, you know, is like, oh, this is my shiny lure. And then you start to amass a collection of lures that you get used to like modifying based on the fish you're going after. But they only give you 2 to start with, and it's just kind of, you just kind of wish that you could save your lure designs and not have such a limit on them. It's not great. So not much to do there. We can see our stats. And now we can go to the ULT Corp dock. All the way over here. So there is something very important as fish contracts. I think I'll be able to show that later on. We can sell fish here if we have any, and we can buy equipment. Here's another thing that kind of sucks. So, generally speaking, if I remember correctly, all of the ULT equipment shops have the same gear. But different shops have different gear, so it's a little bit of an exploration thing, I guess. You have to go know what shop you want to go to buy what you're looking for. Yeah, I'm just not really a fan of that mechanic, but we passed. And now we're kind of launched into the main quest, and basically it involves fishing and it involves fishing missions, and a lot of times it involves catching very specific fish. which is another weird mechanic. So like at some point you want to get a lot of money. So you want to find a known place where you can get a fish that is very valuable, that you have all the data for, that you know how to catch. Oh yes, and the winding speed can be controlled using the mouse wheel. I forgot about that. It's changing on the top right. And you can't move while you've cast. Another interesting thing that can happen, I say interesting, but actually it's just annoying because you don't really know what can happen. You can basically fish out an area. You can catch all the fish in an area. And I can't actually remember when or how they respawn. You could see that it was descending, so there was a hooked fish. One of these guys. Usually I dissect fish when I first get them. And look at that. We've got information on these already, so you can see what it looks like. It does tell you the green is the time, the white bar shows the current time of day. The green is their active feeding time, which is ideally when you want to catch them. And this is something that really sucks about the game. Vegetation. What does that mean? Does that mean near the coastal vegetation? Does that mean near these weird looking green things? What does it mean? Who can say? Does it mean this green underwater? Does that mean that there's vegetation underwater? You just have to look it up. So yeah, as much as it teaches you the core mechanics, it's some stuff very annoying. And you'll just go through the main quest, and gradually progress. Let's take a look at another game. I mean, not another game. Let's take a look at what the end game looks like. Okay. So a bit of a jump, but this is games I like. This is not trying out. I already have tried out this game. I'm just showing it because I like it. Not exactly a review, because I don't think I have the time or energy to be posting game review videos. That takes a lot of writing skill and editing and time, and that's not what this channel is for. But casually showing off a game that I like, I think that's something I can do. And I do enjoy returning to these old games. It's something I usually don't do, but once I started streaming, I kind of developed an interest in it. So where the heck are we? We are at it's a new kind of organization you eventually get access to called TFG. They got all sorts of stuff. Got a lot of good stuff here. And you can see I'm very low on credits. That's just because as soon as you get something that you want to buy it. What do we have installed? We have an exploration kit. Yes, we'll show off exploration. We have a pretty good rod. 2 actually. This one is really useful for, I can't remember. I think there's some sort of, oh yeah, broken in requirement. Interesting. So once we catch enough fish, we get a bonus. I don't recall that mechanic. And you can see we've got a lot more lures. And the boat determines, there's different types of boats. There are actual side grades you can see here. I guess I've managed to do a lot with just this kind of basic boat, but it's got a lot of slots for fish, and I think that was my main reason to go for it. What do I actually have at home? Not much. A lot of these are quest items here, not things that you really would want to keep using, but they aren't really separated from the other modules, so that's unfortunate. So let's try to do something. Oh yeah, and there is a leaderboard. These are actual Steam users, I think. And daily tournaments. So this is end game stuff. I have not participated participated in daily tournaments. I don't really think I would. You can see we have quite a lot of slots for fish here. And where are we? We are in... So these are lakes in the TFG network. So these are all set lakes that have specific preset like fish and things like that, and you'll probably end up visiting them throughout the course of the game. You'll end up visiting a lot of them. So there are some lakes are like particularly good. Like there are some really good fish if you're trying to get money. I don't remember exactly which one that is. But it exists, and that's just something you gotta find out or just look up. There's another thing I'm maybe not the biggest fan of. And they're changing color. I'm trying to think of why that is. That might be because... that might be like the time of day there. Right, so why it looks all green is because of night vision. I'm not sure if this happens automatically or if you have to buy night vision eventually. And if you click this ping here, you can actually find other boats. These are all just kind of random. And sometimes it can be useful to talk to people if you don't have all the data for the location you're at. And sometimes they are quest givers, and you don't know, like, you don't know which of them are, like, actually fixed scripted boats that are there versus just random NPCs. So, hope you're keeping track of who you've talked to. But this is like a quest that I accepted and never really bothered to do because it wasn't really worth doing. Yeah, catch old sand in the conflux. Let's look at our fish journal. You can see I have gotten 100% of the data on these fish here. Lake data. So what do we do at this point in the game? And I should show the lure designer too. Let's do manage lures, edit. Oh, this silliness. There is a lure designing system here. I will just keep it short. There's a lure designing system here. The goal is to start to understand what happens based on the colors and the orientations and how they influence each of these stats. And you can click Lure Design Help to get a reminder on how each of these are influenced. And then you also have these mods that you can add to help get you to where you want to get to. It mostly has to do with what colors are you using, where are they, are they on the top or are they on the bottom, and are there enclosed squares, are there adjacent tiles, things like that. A whole it's a whole in-depth system. You can mess around with it and get the hang of it eventually. At least I was able to. So what do we do? There's like a few different things you can do in the end game. So you can do those. You can look around and find quests. Oops, I cast. Another thing you can do is contracts. Let's see if they have any. We go to the fish market. This place does not have contracts. Let us do this. So one thing you eventually get to be able to do is teleport to random lakes. These are procedurally generated random lakes. There can be all sorts of interesting stuff that goes on. You can find, and the fish are procedurally generated, and everything else. So that's kind of cool. I'm not sure I ended up spending a lot of time on it. Oh, and if you find a place you really like, you can save it. So let's see what happens when we teleport to unknown. So here we are. A brand new shiny lake. And we can start a scan using our exploration kit. That will... Well, I can't remember exactly what it does. I think it just gives us lake data. And you can make some money off of the data itself. That's one reason you do the scans. Just looking around here. And I think it'll populate the map. Surely it will fill in the map for us. Just looking around. Again, what is vegetation? What does that mean? The game doesn't really tell you. Does it mean near the coast? Generally speaking, I think that works. We don't need to keep that open. So we've gotten to a fresh area. Let's try to catch some fish. So what lure do I use? I don't know. I don't know anything about the fish here. So we can let it sink to the bottom. We might have caught a fish. I think we did. The species name is randomly generated. You can... Well, let's dissect it. So you can eventually... There's a way to actually name the fish. But yeah, you can see... Wow, 3 credits. That is not much. Yeah, this is not a good way to make money. And, like, there's so many variables, right? So, if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're in the green area, we have a certain winding speed. Did I catch something? Sometimes it's hard to tell. We're sticking near to the surface. See, not much is happening. So in order to catch all of the fish that are here, generally, I think there's like 4 fish in an area, in a lake. You have to go and change up your lures. So this one that we're using right now, shiny, shiny, loud, large, not kind of midway there, and then mostly dark. And the buoyancy factor and the weight factor determines how fast it sinks. So it doesn't really matter, I think, what the exact value is. It's more the difference between buoyancy and weight. If it's 1 and 1, it basically won't sink. So you can make more of a fly fishing lure. So let's try something different. You can see I have some here specifically for certain fish, and that is because, oh yeah, and it says the type top water means it's just going to stay on the top of the water. You've got top water and then sinking. There might be another type of lure. I'm not sure. So this is a sinking lure. Let's try a top water lure. Generally speaking, I don't think it's a good thing to try at first, because there's a lot more. If everything is randomly generated, my experience has been top water is kind of niche. You're better off going with something that'll sink down to all the various levels that fish can be. Because, like, if you think about it, a fish has a stat called depth. Or I guess area is what it's called. And top water is just one of them. Pretty much all the other areas, it's under the water. So if you want to have a good chance of finding certain fish, you want to be going down through all those layers that the fish can be at. And you also want to try changing up the winding speed. You can see here on the map, we are over a yellow area, so it'll go deeper. It'll sink deeper. And then we got a bite. You can see the tension isn't an issue for us. Eventually, it does become an issue. That's one we caught already, isn't it? Might as well dissect. I'm not going to make any money off of these things. See if we can actually manage to find another fish. This is games I like, but I know I've had a lot of complaints about this game so far in the video, and I was remembering those as I was thinking to play this. There we go, we caught a different one. And look at how little data we got from dissecting it. I'm not sure if it's random or... Oh, you know what? It's based on weight. So a given fish can have a range of weights. And generally the weightier the fish, the more money you're going to get from it. And yeah, releasing tension isn't usually an issue. At least once you get a certain type of pull. But if that starts to go, if the red starts to fill up that bar, then yeah, the fish can snap the line. The line can snap. But that's probably not going to happen with me. I think there are not... When you travel to random lakes, there are not boats or docks, usually. This is kind of like the No Man's Sky of fishing. Except No Man's Sky has actual functioning multiplayer, now at least. This has multiplayer too, but it's more asynchronous. I don't think you can actually see other live players moving around in boats. Caught another one. So this one is 6.98 pounds, which is above the average weight, so we should get a fairly good amount of data from him, and we did. And we can see what lure he likes. Yeah, those names are not great. So is this fun? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the end game in this game is really all that appealing to me, because by the time you hit it, you've definitely gotten a hang on pretty much all the mechanics in the game. Just something to be aware of. So let's go and try to pick up something else, something to give us something to do. Hello. I don't know what this is. Intergalactic Fish Society. Okay. This is some maybe endgame stuff that is new here that I have not experienced yet. Different challenges to master. Cool. So that I was just saying how I felt like the end game, there wasn't much of an end game. But there is. I did not mean to cast. So where can we see that? IFS. Wow, it's a whole new tab. This might be either something new or I did not... like it might have been added to the game after I played through it. Or I just didn't get lucky enough to have this person come talk to me until I started recording this video. So that's kind of weird. I'm expecting that it's probably a newer thing to flesh out the endgame more. So maybe I take back what I was saying about the endgame not having much to do, because now that I'm seeing this, there's quite a bit. And what do we actually get from completing these tasks? Catch different species. TFG network means that it's in one of these lakes, as opposed to a random unknown lake. There are additional side quests you can get, I guess. Randomly generated side quests. Which is another reason to talk to people. Some specific challenges. Cool. They've been adding stuff to the game. I wonder when the last update is. Why am I not seeing when I view update history? The last update was August 7th, 2023. Okay, so they're probably done with updates for now on this game. Good to know. But regardless, there is a bit more of an end game than I realized. Should probably save if it doesn't autosave. This is my home. So fish contracts. This is something that you spend quite a bit of time doing, and unfortunately, I'm not the only player who felt this way. I think the contracts are very often not rewarding enough. So you end up being better off like refreshing the contracts until it goes for a species of fish that you know is like easy to catch and very valuable. Or I think it's just sometimes not worth doing. They've introduced a few contract types, I think, that didn't used to exist. So some of them can involve going to random lakes, which is cool. Yeah, there's a lot that I don't remember being here. But look, this temporal window, we'd have to catch minimum weight 2 of this fish in about 2 hours. Or is that a minute? That's an hour and 55 minutes, not something else. I hope that's real time. So you can take on a contract. I think you can actually... No, you can only accept one. And what does it want us to do? There we go. We have to... It's not a quest. It's an objective. It's different, you see. So we go to this lake. Oh, it's vaguely highlighted in gold. And I do not have all the fish data here, but it is telling us ahead of time, here are the fish that exist here. And there are more than 4. I was wrong. We just see 4 at once, but there can definitely be more, and we are trying to catch a tally finger. If you want to, if you don't want to screw around with this, you can go, if it's not a random lake, You can go look it up. And honestly, I might suggest that that's what you do. Because, look at that, we caught one. But it has to be minimum weight of 4 pounds. Sometimes you can just let it sink and then pull it up right under the boat. But because it simulates the fish swimming around, you want to be casting in different areas because there might be kind of you might be in an area of low fish density. And look at that, we didn't get anything on this fish from that first dissection. Another Smyrn fish. This is kind of cool. And these fish images are like procedurally generated, which is also kind of cool. Oh, not these I think are all set fish. But when you go to the random lakes, they are procedurally generated. Well, that's cool. So if I really, really didn't have other games, if I really wanted to keep playing this game, which I have so many games that I want to play that I don't think I will go for this stuff. But if you really like the gameplay here, it's a peaceful, relaxing sort of game. Because I've been talking so much, maybe the music hasn't been coming through as much as you might prefer. There's plenty to do. You can keep playing and fishing to your heart's content and making your way, leveling up in the Intergalactic Fish Society. What heights could you possibly achieve? But yes, I will say, by the time you get to where I am, if you're at all like me, which who knows how unique my own tastes are, you'll already have kind of seen what there is to see as far as the mechanics go. And another thing is you're kind of just fighting against wasting your own time. It's one of those games where you're optimizing for your time. It's not your like mechanical skill and like are you succeeding or failing. It's are you efficiently designing your lures, efficiently casting and finding the fish you need, you know, and your reward if you're doing well is you're not wasting your time, and your reward if you're doing bad is you're wasting your time because you're not catching anything and you're wondering, where the heck do I find these fish? And that's kind of annoying, because you have nothing to go on to find these fish. Nothing. And I have definitely had some frustrating gameplay experiences relating to that, where there's one specific fish and I can't even catch one of them. So, you know, I did like this game. I was done with it after 7 hours. Is that a, you know, thumbs up for the game for a $15 game? I'm not sure. I think it's an interesting game and unique. It's slow paced and very, very chill. It can be not chill if you're getting frustrated and not being able to catch what you want to catch, though. So you have been warned. But I think that's enough. I think that's enough of intergalactic fishing for now. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the game, and we'll see what this series yields as far as the games I like series or games I dislike. I have a list of those too. So I will see you in whatever video comes next. Well, this is a stream, so I will see you in whatever we do next on the stream. Check this game out on Steam, $15 right now, Intergalactic Fishing.